With grammar reforged, you will have Odin's blessing to walk, a goddess, into the halls of Helheim and challenge Hela as an equal.
So Dillion was helping me. And his sword will lead me to him. Like when we first met.
Dillion gave her the strength to pass the warrior trials, and she saw a way out. To leave her past behind, and become a warrior in Dillion's clan.
Go back. It's not safe.
The sword is tainted by the gods of darkness. Leave it.
No. He left it here. He wants me to take it.
You will pay a price for this.
But years later, with Zinbel's parting words still haunting her, the darkness came back with a vengeance. A plague.
Dillion?
Everyone suffered.
My father was not supposed to die like this.
Dillion.
Do you see it clearly now, Senua? The suffering you've caused.
This is your fault. You brought this plague to us! You have blood on your hands!
They're coming for you now.
They're coming.
They're coming to get you.
The four trials, mirroring Odin's four trials, not only represent Senua overcoming her past, but also the warrior trials that she watches Dillion perform and subsequently passes herself with his help. Upon completing all four tests, grammar is now in hand, and Senua's eyes are open to a lot of new truths. The power of grammar allows Senua to focus and unleash the power locked within the sword. All the enemies, once cloaked in shadow, now frozen and slowed in time, become easy prey for Senua to defeat. Her darkness pulls her even further down as punishment for receiving this gift. Senua walks through hell, pools of blood, clawing hand, the burned and dead surrounding her, crying, yelling, suffering. A physical representation of her and her mother's gifts, the ability to see the suffering of the underworld.
Who is it? Galena!
Where are you?
Do you hear, Senua? Do you hear the voice of your mother, Galena? She calls for you, Senua. Go to her. Answer her pitiful call.
The darkness took her life, and it will take yours.
Mother! I need you! Help me!
Darkness is here.
You're both dead. You both surrendered to the voices.
Your dear beloved mother was powerless against the darkness when it came for her. She too had a sight. She too doubted the gods and let the darkness infest her. But she didn't run. She escaped the only way she knew how. She gave her life to the gods. If only you had done the same, the world would have been spared this horror.
The soundtrack now adds pounding drums and a cacophony of voices into the mix. A lot of discordant notes are playing, evoking the feeling of being surrounded by all these screaming and crying faces, further adding to the desperation of the environment and overwhelming nature of where you're trapped. Even more aggressive enemies are encountered. The newfound power of grammar tested to its fullest, waves after waves of enemies threatening to overwhelm and overrun Senua, even with this newfound strength. Eventually, your shadow, the male demeaning voice, beckons you to just look around. Do you think Dillian's soul can even be rescued? And if you were able to rescue it, do you think he would thank you? After you killed his father, after you killed his village? The voices took your mother, and they will take you. In the end, darkness takes everything. Your journey through hell ends when you finally encounter the face of your mother. This one, a new vision, no longer tranquil and loving, but agonizing, crying, trapped in pain, begging for help. Where once before your mother viewed her gift as allowing her to see the pain of those in the underworld and trying her best to help ease their suffering, now it appears that it has fully taken over her mind. Reaching this point, you relive a moment in Senua's past. One night, she vowed to follow after her mother. Senua is seen standing on the edge of a cliff, ready to plunge. Dillian rescues her once again. The hardest battles are fought in the mind. He gave her the sword with which to fight in more ways than one. All she needed was a little help, a little hope. Senua reawakens from the vision of hell and progresses further into the mountain, deeper and deeper, and soon finds a great beast guarding Helheim and the depths. Garm is its name. And every time Senua enters the shadows, the beast pursues her, overwhelming her mind with visions of the pain and suffering she has caused. An incorporeal monster, her sword is useless against this threat. All you can do is run from light patch to light patch, clinging to a faint torch to light your way through. At the end of a hallway, you find another vision of your mother.
Mother, do you hear that?
Don't fall for it.
It's me, Senua.
It's so loud.
It's not her.
So full of hate.
It's a trap.
Just want to help them.
Tell me what to do.
Your father wants them to go away. And he only hurts me to silence them.
But he's gone now.
They always come back. He says I will die if I go with them. They say that I'm already dead.
No,
They
please.
want me with them.
Stop.
That's why they crawl through the walls.
Don't listen
Do you
to them.
see them? Do you see their faces? He's coming.
Senua, help me. No, get me out of here. Don't go.
She's disappeared again.
She shouldn't be here. She escaped the darkness. She took her own life to escape it.
This vision sheds a lot of light on living as a child. Even Senua's Furies don't talk much about Zinbel, for fear of further upsetting her. Zinbel, her father, brutally tried to suppress and destroy both his wife and his daughter's gifts out of fear. The place that she's in now reminds her of the isolating and suffocating darkness she lived through as a child, imprisoned in her room, with faces coming through the walls, with the monsters chasing after her in the dark.
She once thought everyone could see them. I mean, that's what children say all the time, isn't it? That there are monsters in the dark. By the time she realized that only she could see them, her father, Zinbel, could see the monster in her.
Do you feel it? The beast is crawling into your mind, searching for weakness. It found your mother and used her to trap you in here.
Did you see her die? I don't remember. I was only 5. They told me she escaped the darkness, that she's with the gods. But what if they lied? What if the darkness took her and trapped her here?
Senua begins to question the truth behind her mother's death, question how altruistic her father really was. Running away from the beast, hiding from it in light patch after light patch, eventually you reach a long bridge.
What have you done?
No!
It's over. Without his head, you will never bring the soul back. His fate is sealed. Now it can see you at your weakest. The time you suffered as a child at the hands of your father Zindo while you pined for Dillion. Do you remember that darkness, Senua?
Senua was so close to reaching the top of the tower, evading the beast hunting her at every turn. But unfortunately, this is a monster she can no longer afford to run from. She has to go deeper into the abyss to reclaim Dillion's skull and to face the beast one-on-one. Moving further downwards, there's more lore stones, Druth recanting the story of Sigurd and how he learned the power of the runes to overcome the gods of hell. Again, following your journey down into the abyss. One thing becomes clear as we get closer and closer to facing the beast. Zenbel is manifesting as the Shadow, the dark and overwhelming inner voice that degrades Senua and attempts to emotionally manipulate her. This is a surrogate for her father. Even the Furies, the other voices in your head, recognize that you play into your father's hands, the Shadow's hands, every single time. At the bottom of the abyss, walking on ground laden with bones, Senua comes face to face with the beast. Reclaiming Dillion's head, Senua must face off against her fears.
The beast has Dillion. No! You're not taking it from me!
I warn you, Senua. I can smell your...
No!
You betrayed your god.
I am leaving with him!
You turned your back on me. That is why Dillion will rot in hell. Come into my shadow.
People think of evil as an unnatural, invisible force, and so invoke the gods for protection. But evil can come from the hand behind the gods. A familiar hand, cold and cruel. He tried to fix her with his rituals, kept her trapped in that hole. She couldn't say which was worse. The darkness, or the monster that her father had become. She couldn't fight them both. And so she left, headed for the one ray of light that shone down on her. If she had stayed, she wouldn't have survived. But maybe Dillion would still be alive.
With the beast finally defeated, there's nothing left between Senua and Hela. No other obstacles remain. Senua has already faced the darkest parts of herself. She knows that she's beyond saving. But if she can at least save Dillion, it will all be worth it.
The Northmen say the world will come to an end. They call this Ragnarok, the destiny of the gods. First, there will be a terrible winter, 3 years long. Then, mankind will turn on itself. Brothers will fight each other to the death, and people will forget what they owe their kindred. Times will be hard. Crimes will be great. It will be an age of axes and swords. The wind will blow through abandoned halls. Wolves will walk where children played. The world will fall into ruin. The Northmen say that each god will do battle at Ragnarok. Odin will fight the monstrous wolf and be killed, but his son will avenge him and plunge his sword into the heart of the beast. Freyr will face Surt, but he had given his sword away for love, and without it, he cannot defend himself against the flames. Thor will smite the Midgard serpent to no avail. The sun will grow black, the earth will sink into the sea, the stars will disappear, fire and water will meet, steam will shoot up, flames will play against the sky, the heavens and earth and all the world will be burned, all the gods will be dead, and the warriors of Valhalla and the people everywhere. Senua, prepare yourself for Ragnarok, for it is nigh.
The final tale of Druth, the tale of Ragnarok, the destiny of the gods, the apocalypse of the world. All that's left is one final bridge to cross, a bridge to Dillion, a bridge to a memory of her mother long forgotten, a bridge to Hela.
She'll never make it.
This isn't just a broken bridge, is it? Mother, you showed me how to see further. To see the hidden wonders in our world and explore new paths into the unknown. To lead so that others may follow, or to warn so that they may avoid. That is our gift and our duty. I'm not going to look away in fear anymore. We'll all die someday.
I don't want to die.
And when everyone's gone, even the gods will die.
We don't want to die.
I don't want to die.
Senua, stop. Turn back.
Stop. Stop her.
This final hallway presents you with a golden bridge. The Furies fear their own death, encouraging you to stop. Senua sees a reflection of herself through an iron mirror, again evoking Druth, preparing to leave behind the Senua of old, exorcising her prior weakness and fear. Leaving that old shell behind, Senua plunges through the mirror, emerging on the other side.
There is nothing to go back to.
We only have each other now. Don't abandon me.
Everyone suffers. They were right about me.
Listen to me, not them. They were afraid. Like children scared of the dark.
So was I.
They made up monsters to fill the void. That doesn't make them real.
They made them real.
No!
Follow your soul and let go of the Senua of old. For there lies your weakness, and the darkness will find it.
It's not like the old stories, is it? The noble warrior facing evil in search of victory and honor. Clear dividing lines. No. Oh, this place is not quite like that. It's as if it knows that true torment lies within. Memories you cannot defeat, cannot escape. This is her hell.
If you visited and found every lore stone throughout the playthrough, Druth will appear and tell you that he was a true coward. He spoke the Northmen's tongue and so thought he could broker peace with them, or at least stay their hands from slaughter. But under torture, he did no such thing. He led them to the treasures and the slaves that they sought. But, he mentions, he wasn't the only one. Another came to the Northmen willingly. This one, a man in black, from Senua's village, and he was offered safe passage for his treason. In the end, Druth mentions, it isn't the gods, but those closest to us that cause us so much suffering.
Wait, Mother! Don't be like this. No. Turn away, Senua! Turn away, Senua!
Do you see it, Senua? Do you see the darkness? Faces fear and suffering.
You can see it.
I remember it clearly now.
She has nothing to fear anymore. The gods have saved your mother. Through my hand.
You killed her.
It is the will of the gods.
Fuck the gods! You did this to her! Why?
This is what happens when you listen to the voices of the underworld. They crawl into your soul and rot you from the inside. Defy the gods like your mother, and the darkness will come for you too. Do you understand, Senua?
I do understand. You cursed me with your own madness. I was just a child. You created this darkness! You created this darkness so you could hide behind it!
Only suffering brings salvation. It is the way of the gods.
It was all a lie. You are a lie! She didn't defy the gods. She defied you. And so you killed her.
You didn't pray to the gods. You prayed to your mother. Your mother, who was too weak to fight the darkness and abandoned you.
You tortured her. You killed her. You are the darkness.
All the pain, all the suffering, all the guilt that Senua has for her internal struggle has all been a lie. Galena, Senua's mother, didn't kill herself to save those around her from suffering due to her darkness. Zinbel sacrificed her on a pyre as she wouldn't conform to his methods and his god.
Those rituals, the years of isolation, the pain that still haunts you. It was the only way to fight the curse within you.
You're a liar.
The darkness is inside you that will destroy you.
You're a liar!
No, Senua. The darkness is here. You cannot wish it away. And it will watch as you draw the last dying gasp.
I won't let you kill me.
He tried to force that same methodology on Senua, and it worked. Until she met Dillion. Zinbel, recognizing that Dillion was pulling his daughter away, was showing her another path, was embracing that side of her, was not fearing it and thinking it an evil thing. Zinbel went to the Northmen and betrayed Dillion's village. He sold them out, gave them their location. All the evil, all the pain, all the darkness in Senua's life has come from him,
same mistake that killed him in the first place. I'm trying to save you from yourself. You still believe it is a lie? The plague of darkness, the butchering of Dillion by the Northmen. You saw it yourself.
You told everyone I was cursed. They believed you. I believed you.
Tell me, Senua, where is Dillion's soul if the darkness is alive? How you saved him?
He's here. I know he's here. Dillion, I know you're here. Hold on. I'll find you.
As we approach each platform moving towards Hela, our final destination, we get assaulted by this miasma of black. And you can notice the darkness, the rot on Senua's arm slowly growing higher and higher and higher. It's clear she won't be coming back from this. The soundtrack for Hellblade also has 2 songs that aren't original, and this is one of them. And it is amazing. It perfectly sets the tone. The pulsating electronic drum beat, the uplifting chorus of voices behind it. It's a beautiful song. It perfectly encapsulates the feeling of this desperate struggle to save the one you love.
You're trying to trick me again with your lies. I know he's here. You took him from me. You have him.
Dillion is gone. Dillion is dead. Let him go now. I'm warning you.
Or what? What can you do to me that you haven't already? Fight me. Come on.
You betrayed your own father. You betrayed the gods in search of Dillion, in search of love. Look where that's got you. Let go of the battle. Let go of redemption.
Behind you.
But Dillion. Don't let your darkness hurt anyone else.
The final fight to Hela, just feet away from you. All you have to do is fight through this last wave of enemies and you can take your vengeance out. You can save Dillion. It's right there. And this part is just done so beautifully through the game. You fight wave after wave of enemies. They keep respawning. No matter how many you kill, they just keep coming. The voices in your head, the furies eventually start to tell you to just give up. Stop fighting. Let it end. From a gameplay side, no matter how many enemies you kill, and with the power of grammar and the focus, you can kill a lot of them in 1 or 2 hits. But they keep respawning. You'll also be hit with these sort of spastic fits. Senua will be coughing and you'll lose control of her, sometimes causing you to get hit. Your health will regen slower and slower and slower until eventually you can't fight anymore. Even someone as determined as Senua, even someone who's overcome so much, the darkness within herself, the deepest, most brutal, most upsetting parts of her past, she's lived through them and persevered and come out the other side, one goal in mind, and there it is. It's right there. But we can't get to it. We're not strong enough. Until eventually, you get hit. And you stand back up and you keep fighting. And you get hit again. And you get hit again. Until eventually you can't fight anymore.
Be careful, Senua. Careful. Watch out. Let go, Senua. Let go of your battle. You're killing yourself.
If you're alive, and there's no doubt, then you never took him from me, did you? And I can't save Dorian. Is that what you want me to believe? After all you've done to me? And to him? You're not a lie, but you're a liar! You crawled into me to confuse me and deceive me. But I know he's here. I know you have him. I'll give you my life. That's what you want, isn't it? My soul. Take it. I'll be a slave for you. I'll fight with you at Ragnarok. If you release him. because I've got nothing left. No fear. No hate. No quest. Nothing. And you will have no power over me.
I learned the hard way to not be afraid of death, Senua. Because a life without loss is one without love. You turn your back on death, and all you can see is the shadow that it casts. The longer you hide from it, the longer the shadow grows until all you can see is darkness. When our time comes, we must look death in the eye and embrace it as a friend. Only then can we let go of our fear. And emerge from our darkness.
Never forget what it is like to see the world as a child, Senua. Every autumn leaf is like a work of art. Every rolling cloud a moving picture. Every day, a new story. We too emerge from this magic, like a wave from the ocean, only to return to the sea. Do not mourn the waves, the leaves, and the clouds. Even in darkness, the wonder and the beauty of this world never leaves us. It is always there. waiting to be seen again.
Oh no. Oh. It's the rocks. The darkness is back. The darkness is back. Wait. What is it? It feels... It's different. It feels... okay. Is it okay?
This is where my story once began. And so it has to end here. Because I cannot see further than this.
Follow us. We have another story to tell.
My friend, go with her. This now will be your story to witness. Goodbye.
Lying crumbled on the ground, broken and bloody, the darkness fully enveloping your right arm, shoulder, and face. Senua rises up to look at an impassive, uncaring Hela approaching. Her blade glowing on the ground, Hela picks it up and walks towards her, emotionless. Senua cries for Dillion as she crawls for his head, with Hela waiting above, completely uncaring. Senua cries uncontrollably, her failure evident. Everything was a lie. However, she starts laughing, accusing Hela and the Shadow. Is this what you want me to believe after everything you've done to me? I know you have him, she yells. Hela represents all of Senua's psychosis, everything her mother taught her, everything Zinbel imparted on her, everything Dillion lovingly spread to her. It's only after Senua, resigned to her fate, decides to give her life up to Hela, to save Dillion. I'll fight for you at Ragnarok, Senua pleads. And with that, Hela pierces Senua's heart with grammar, and in her reflection, we see Dillion lovingly next to her, letting her know it's okay to die. It's okay to let go, to emerge from the darkness. Senua's heaving, airy breaths are all we hear, and Hela walks behind her, picking up Dillion's severed and wrapped skull, this time carefully. Hela, once impassive and pure, now shows emotion. The skull is picked up with love, each step towards the edge slower than the last. Hela looks at the skull longingly, her face and mouth reflecting sadness and acceptance. Kneeling at the end of the plank, we see Hela speaking, but we can't hear her. It's only after dropping the skull we pan back up to Hela and see Senua in her place. Senua looks up, and for the first time we see vibrant colors, clear skies, beautiful mountains, and a gorgeous sunrise. Her Furies come back laughing until Senua holds up her arm, the dark rot clearly still lingering and pulsing. The Furies are scared. Wait, it feels different now. This is where my story once began, and now it has to end here because I cannot see further than this. But we have another story to tell as Senua walks into the light, leaving Hela's body behind. As throughout the earlier parts of the game, the death of Senua is not to be taken literally, but rather a part of the story. In this case, it's more of a metaphor, an indication of Senua coming to terms with loss and with death and acceptance of those. Not her own, but Dillion's. Coming to terms with the fact that she'll never be able to pull him back, never be able to set him free. What's done is done. She has to move forward. She has to accept all of herself. She'll never be able to defeat the Furies and send them on their way. That's a part of her. She can only grow to accept them and become more complete as a person. The last scene of the game with color shows that Senua has accepted this. Wait, it's different. Things are different. You leave behind this past self. You leave behind Hela and Dillion and those stories that Druth told you on into a new life. And this game has a lot to say, and I really enjoyed going through the story and dissecting it and trying my best to relay all that the story had to offer. And while I never went through something like Senua did, and I don't have mental illness that I'm aware of, there were definitely parts of this game that really touched me and stood out to me. And I encourage anyone to pick this game up. It is well worth your time. Thank you so much for watching this series. I appreciate it. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.